All right, it's time to. Rob's sitting back there mocking me, so I messed up right at the beginning. Anyway, happy Friday to you. We're back with some more Swelligant. I am preparing my personal contribution to this month's challenge at the Bisou Boutiques Creative Group, which is the theme of end of summer beaches and ocean themes. So I got to thinking, well, I have all these wonderful vintage pearl cabs, and I have some cool little seashells, and I thought Swelligant should work on them just fine. And then maybe I could even change them up after the Swelligant processed, and I could put some resin on top of them. I wanted to see too if I took iced enamel powders and drifted them down into the resin without doing them the technical way. I wanted to just kind of drift some embossing powder down there and see what would happen. Well, I found out, and I'm going to show you. Micro beads into it, and really make myself some fantastic focals from things that I had in my workshop. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take you over to the other bench and show you what I did and some in process, and also a good way to stipple on the metal coatings, because some were saying on flat surfaces they were having some difficulty. So I'll show you how I do it, and we'll get some ideas from that. And then if we have time, we'll come back over here and you can work on my project with me, and I'll show you what I've chosen to put on it. How's that sound? Lots of stuff, so let's get on it. Over there with me, please. Okay, so first, I'm going to show you some examples of things I just did a couple of hours ago. These things have not had the stop action on the patina yet, so they're still technically blooming, because you remember how with Swelligant that once you apply the patina, the longer you leave it on, the more it's going to bloom. I found another thing too, that if you take it after you've put the patina on and you take maybe put on a cookie sheet or something and run it outside in the hot sun, it'll really lighten pretty quick. Or you can add some heat, like I'll use this Ranger Heat It tool, which we don't carry these because I like my really hot one better. But for this type of work, especially where I'm going over plastics like the pearls, you need lighter heat. So this is real mild heat. So it's kind of good to have both of them actually. But anyway, these are some things that I've done, and the bloom has not been stopped yet. Okay, so I'm going to show you how we stop the bloom, which, in case you forgot or maybe haven't seen a video on Swelligant before, and I will show you how to apply it too, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the bloom on these because it's long enough now. All I do is just dunk them, okay, and then I'm going to put them over here. You can see these have already had the bloom stopped. They really don't look any different. It's just, you know, I did them already. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the bloom. These are metal. And you'll see sometimes when you dunk them, a little of the patina may come off a little bit. Well, you can go back and you can enhance that by doing a little bit more patina on them if you want. With the Swelligant, you can enhance them with the metal coatings. You can enhance them with alcohol ink pens, paints. You can change it up. The thing I love about Swelligant is it blends with so many other media. So you can put so many different things on top of it, and I'm going to show you that too in just a minute. This is a locket. I'm going to take and dry this again because I have a reason for wanting to show you that too. These I only did half hour ago maybe. So I think I'm going to continue to let these bloom for a while because these are kind of murky yet. They're not really what I was going for. So I'm just going to let these go for a little bit. They look kind of muddy. And it just means that, you know, they need to lighten up a little bit. I'm going to just leave them go. And here's the thing too, you know, if you don't get the bloom that you like, you can always go over it with more metal coating and add more of your patina. But once your metal coating dries out, it doesn't work so hot. The metal coating really needs to be wet for best effect. Okay, I'm going to take and I'm going to dry this locket. I'm just showing you a bunch of techniques today, a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to dry this up a little bit, which may cause it to lighten. I could just wipe it off too, because I'm not going to put anything on it now. With Swelligant, if you wanted to put resin on it, you're going to have to let it cure for a good 24 hours, because you know resin and water or anything wet, any other media that's wet under, they don't go together so hot. It's got to be bone dry. So, and I don't want to touch this quite because it's going to be good and hot. But can you see how light that is? Now see, when I go to wipe it, it takes some of it off. That's not necessarily, you know, what you want, but I like to sometimes show you what happens if you do this and that. A little bit, I'm going to show you how this will look when you distress it with some steel wool, because the other side looks completely different. This one, I want you to see how some of that came right off on the rag. That's okay, because you can do it again, or maybe you want some of it off. So, you know, you have that option. It's not on there forevermore until you seal it. And then, too, you have your options with sealing. So I'm going to push him out of the way for a little bit. All right. Before I show you the fruits of my labors yesterday and all the cool stuff I made, I'm going to glove up. And I am going to show you how to stipple on the brass coating, because some were saying, oh, I'm having a rough time getting it to get a nice even layer. Well, guess what? You're not going to really get a nice even layer on something flat like this. This is a vintage pearl cab. We have them on this site. I'm going to just pull all this stuff out here that I brought to show you, give you some examples. This is a domed cab. We have those on the site too. Okay, just a few things. I already have some metal coating poured out here, and it's still fresh enough for me to use. I just got to be careful. One thing you got to watch for. If you're using a brush, be sure that it's cleaned out well enough so that you can use it on brass coating again, because if you get any of the patina in there while there's some brass coating, it kind of gets all greebly and bubbles like up and rolls off, and it's funky, weird, ucky, yucky. Excuse me, I just bumped the camera. So it's not going to be what you like. So make sure that you don't have, like, if you were cleaning up and you got some patina solution into your brush, you got to clean the brush again. So okay, I'm going to get a little bit of the brass solution here, which happens to be my favorite. Okay, now if I just go across here, you can see I've got streaks. Now you might be okay with that, or you might want to say, well, okay, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a couple more coats. Just remember, the last coat that you do needs to be wet if you want to do patina on it, because it really is only active when it's wet, it seems. But what I like to do, instead of getting it like that, because I just like a real Baroque, imperfect, natural kind of look, as I stipple it on. So I kind of go like this with my brush, and I get it on nice and thick. So for me and my aesthetic, this is ready. Now you might not, you might have some high bubbles and stuff you may not want in there, but you know, this is my aesthetic. Don't worry about getting it on the back. Most of them you're going to just mount, you're never going to see the back. If you will see the back, well, you can go do the back later. You really only do one side at a time. Here's me putting on brass coating on a seashell. Seashells by the seashore. You like seashells by the seashore, Javi?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, the biggest hoot in my life is going to the seashore and getting seashells. But so many seashores, there's no shells anymore, so it's kind of a pain. Anyway, here's one. Now this, I kind of think it's got like a lot of natural stuff going on there already, and I kind of like it, so I don't want to really cover that up. I'm just going to go around the edge, and then I'm going to go to the inside. This would be really, really cool put in an assemblage upside down. Like that. With the edge rolled out and the texture and the ridges. And I'm going to wipe a little bit of it back and then just kind of stipple it. So that when I apply that, oops, somebody forgot to take the phone off the hook. At least it's not down here. Okay, so now this is the round cabin. You can see we have the most problem with that. You're really going to have to stipple on this. And this is from, if you go to our website and you put in the search box at bcboutiques.com, vintage pearls, we have a batch. It's about 2.5 ounces, which is a lot of these. They're vintage plastic from the 60s, and there's a lot of really cool pearls in there. You get a lot to play with for, I think it's like around $7. So that's where these come from. Okay, so now I've got these. They are ready for patina. And I'm going to wipe this off and set it aside so that I don't get patina in it and have to play around cleaning it. Now what I like to do is, like I showed you before, I like to use these little cups. Now they're dirty, but it's okay because I know which one was in before. I had Tiffany green in this one, which is a favorite. It makes this color. And then, of course, everybody's new favorite is the blue, which makes that color. I like to mix them. Sometimes put both of them. In fact, these shells here are mixed. They have both colors. And why not, right? Okay, so I'm going to just, I pour them in these cups because I don't like to waste a lot. You'll always have a little waste, but I don't like to waste a whole lot. Then you see I've got sponges. These are pretty well soaked up, so I'm going to start with another little piece of sponge. I like to use sponges. Let's bring this guy over here first. And you won't worry about that being there. Let me use the other side because didn't I just say don't get that into it? Okay, let's put blue. So I put the sponge in. And that just soaks right up. Now, I'm just going to squeeze it on. I'm going to get that down in the cracks. Don't worry if it, goes all over your surface. I like to use these no-stick surfaces because, see, I just sucked that right back up. I like to use them because I can get them clean, nice. Okay, this will bloom beautiful. It'll have blue in just all the right places to really accent this. And then what you could do, when it's dry, you could like run a little piece of that real fine rhinestone chain, that 2mm rhinestone chain that we carry at the site. You could put that in there, or put a few little pearls sticking out of there. That'd be really cool once that's bloomed. Now we have to let that sit. I would say this is going to take you 20 minutes to half an hour to bloom, okay? So now I'm going to do this piece so that you can see. Let me move it over here. I'm trying not to. Okay. I'm probably going to have to put a little bit more of this stuff in there. A bottle of this stuff lasts me a while, I have to say. But I reclaim a lot of it too. If it runs all over the place, I get another sponge and I soak it up. And I'm just squeezing her on there. See, just get it. And it will find its own way. It'll find its own path among the stippling that you do. And I'll show you a finished one. So that looks just like a blob now, but don't worry. See how much I can reclaim here. Don't worry, when it's dry, you'll be surprised. I'm going to put on this one too. Now this will be a little bit harder, and I just scooted some of that off because I touched it. So I'll just apply a little bit more stippling. Trying not to get the brush into any patina that might be laying around on here. And then I'm just going to squeeze and just make it, just lay in a pool of this stuff. Because that's the way it's going to work. And it'll come out real baroque and unusual. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. Now let's do this last seashell. This last seashell with a seashore. I never did use the green yet. Let's do the green. Another. Whoops. Whoops, I got a little blue in it. No problem. We'll just make it better. Squeeze that on there. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go get some of the blue and reclaim it. See, it just sucks it right up. I'm going to squeeze that on there too. And it'll be a beautiful mix when it's all dry. Like I say, just leave it sit 20-30 minutes. If you want to speed it up a little bit, take your heat gun. Use that lightweight heat gun, not the real heavy duty one. One that has light heat. And put it on there. Okay. Now, before I show you what something like this comes out like when it's all said and done, I am going to take these gloves off. I may have to put new ones on. Not sure, but anyway, I'm going to take them off for the minute. And I'm going to show you how I distress this. Convy, can you get me this far over? I'm out of the... There we go. I think it's been long enough. So I've just got my real fine steel wool and I'm taking some off. So you can see how easily it comes off. You can just leave it where you want it. As it is, I've kind of gone hard, so I've removed a lot of it, but that's probably because the patina might have wanted to sit for a while. That doesn't look like much like that. But you could go over that with some darkening, add some other colors and stuff to it, use it kind of as a base. You could do it again. But what I wanted to show you is that you can remove it from any place that you don't want it. Do it over and over, however many times you want, and just play. Okay? So it's not permanent until it's sealed, so you don't have to worry about it. You can remove it. I could take these pieces up here that I did earlier today that I'm not quite done with and I'm not going to stop the action yet, and I could remove all of it off of there if I wanted to. So nothing's ever lost with this stuff until it's sealed. Now, speaking of sealed or finished, let me just show you what I did yesterday. If you're on my Facebook group, you probably saw these pictures already. My nose is running, I hate that. How can we get this all in the shot? Maybe let's move some stuff over, because I really want to focus on these. And now I wasn't thinking. Now I've got all this patina stuff in the way. Okay, now suck that up. I just love those foam brushes, don't you? I get them in a whole box full from Art Supply. Okay, now I can really, can you, is that in there nice and clear? This is what I did yesterday. I had so much fun. Now, to start with, these pieces have not yet been sealed. These are seashells and a cab. If you can see this one here that I just did. When it's dry, it's going to look kind of like that. And it's so neat because it's from the squeezing and stuff, it makes this really cool patterned effect. It just kind of finds its own way, almost crackled like. And it's really neat. On the shells, it's just beautiful. The porous material of the shell is just a perfect background for using Swelligent. These have not been sealed yet, so I could seal them with the Swelligent matte finish, and they'll stay looking like that. The matte finish has no gloss to it whatsoever. I could use Krylon matte spray and varnish. That would also work. I could use a little bit of, diamond glaze on a finger to finish this off, give them a little bit of gloss. A lot of different things I could use over it, but I could also use resin. And resin is what really made these pop. Look at that. That's this with resin on it. Micro beads down in there. And even there's a little bit of the ivory ice enamel lake. Is that in the shot? Just drifted down there. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't. I'll lift it up. It just kind of made little, just kind of dispersed itself. It didn't, you know, adhere kind of like you would expect it to do. I want to do a little bit more experimenting and put the medium down first and make it adhere, and then do the resin over top. Do Swelligant first, then iced enamel, and then that, and see what happens. Maybe we'll do that next week. It's a little bit messy, I'm not going to lie. Here's one. This is a button disc. It's mother of pearl that I took and I Swelliganted. And then I took and I drifted this into the resin all over the top of it. And it's just so cool. It's almost like mini crackle. Is that too close, Javi? No. This is so cool how that came out. But not your typical look. That's why it's fun to play sometimes, is just see what happens, you know. This one I put a number of colors on. I've got some cleanup to do on this one. But it's got number of colors. It has this right here. This is iced enamel that I did heat up underneath there. There's some micro beads. There's all kinds of stuff. And then the color underneath crackled, and I put some more brass coating around the edge, and then I did, after it was really good and dry, ice resin. And then, because I'm in a basement now, and the basement tends to be a little damp even though I have a strong dehumidifier, I ran them outside and let them be on a cookie sheet to have heat from below, and let them right in the bright sun, and they cured hard as a rock. They were just great, and not too long too, not the usual time. Here's another one I have to trim up a little bit, but see, you can see the crackling effect. And here was some iced enamel that I just threw down in there, just little bits and pieces here. I mean, that is so cool. That is so artsy. I love doing stuff like this. Here's a domed one. The domed ones are a little bit harder. You can see how the color just kind of ran off on this one, but it made it so pale and pretty, dark in places, light in others. Micro beads in there, very, very pretty. Then I did a starfish, and I dipped the edges in just a little bit of the ice enamel. I didn't do it with the heat and with the medium. I just dipped it, and doesn't it look like he's got sand on him, just like he came off the beach? That's so neat. And then here are some domed cabs that have just the resin. I didn't put anything else. So you can see the metal coating coming up and how the blue of the patina went around. I mean, these are lovely, lovely. So 50s art modern looking. I just love them. Here's a little heart that I did same way. So nifty, so nifty. Then I did this one, just mostly resin. I didn't put really any metal coating down on it. Let me hold it up. And I drifted micro beads into the resin, and also turquoise relique, which is this. It's got all these little good greeblies down in there. Stempendous makes some stuff kind of like this too, but I kind of favor this one better. And then I took the shell, because I had a lot of resin on top of here. I put resin on top of it to drift the stuff down into, so I just slid the shell into it. And it kind of looks like it's washed up on the beach. That would be really pretty put into a mountain, made into a pendant, don't you think? I do. Then I did another one where I just put the resin on top of this. And we have these on the site too. And I put a raw brass starfish that I hadn't done anything to, then just put some micro beads on it. So because this is hanging off the side, I really can't put in an amount, but it would be really good in an assemblage. And here's another one. Needs trimmed up, but I put several colors. And here's the raspberry relique. And I think I did heat this in there a little bit first, and then I put the topping. This one was really hard to coat. Like I say, it's messy, but you can do it. You can get it there. And then if you're using them in assemblage, or you're going to mount them or whatever, you could just get the edges off. You could get a scissors and get that off, or just pick it off. I mean, it's kind of a pain. You can see I'm picking it off. It's hard to remove resin. But, you know, you'll get it, and it'll be fine. So it's nice to be neat, but I don't use resin every day, so I'm not always as neat as I'd like. Then I did these. These are some little blanks that I had bought for myself to play with, and they had a pattern to them, and I hit them with my torch and brought all those beautiful different colors, the teal, the magenta, and the gold and green, and then I resined them. And they'll make a really pretty focal after I trim them up. But you can see the backs. Just the torch, and then I let it cool down. And when it was really good and cool, then I resined them. And I could set that in a mount, because I think they're close to 25 millimeters. We don't have these on the site yet, but maybe I'll get them. Or I could drill them, make earrings. There's so many things I could do. But anyway, this is what I did yesterday. So I wanted to show you all the examples. And then if you'd like, you can step back over to the big table with me. And we will maybe start my collage piece for the challenge. And you can work with me on that. So let's go on over there. Okay, this is what I have so far. Using all the Swelligent stuff, you know, to get my challenge piece done. I've got my chain on already. This is vintage chain. We don't carry this, but you know, you could make this out of pearls and eye pins. And you know, we have these little beehive things. We have lots of those at our place. So you can go over and get them and make your own chain like this. But I actually didn't make this chain. I could have, but I didn't. With some vintage stuff that I had. But anyway, here's a locket that I did. Very similar to the one that we were working on over at the other table. Okay, and I did it with first Swelligant, and it's got ice enamel on there, as you can see. And then I also, excuse me, accented it with the brass metal coating. And then I applied a cap to which I had put all these little micro beads. And they had slid off into some resin, so I carefully glued this all down so it just kind of looks like it's all washed up from the sea there. So then, you know, you can put a picture of your true love in there or something. I got some cleanup work here, or a lock of his hair. Go cut some of Rob's hair, put in there. Cut a piece of his mustache. Okay, so we did that. So now we're just going to start this. We won't finish it, but maybe we get a start on it. You can kind of see, and then when I get it done, I'll put it on my blog or the newsletter. But I have this pretty button that's pearly, and I thought I'd use some of my Swelligent things and some seashells that I had and some buttons that are pearl buttons. So of course I'm going to start by doing my chip and dip kind of method. I just get part of it and then slide it into place, and then that way I don't have to have it all coming down the end and a nasty back to clean up. So I'm going to start that there and go right around where the locket seats. I've made a hole and riveted it, stuck it there. So I'm putting all my base stuff down. Now doesn't that look like a seashell type thing, kind of a starfish type thing? I'm not sure where I want to put that yet though, because I don't want to cover that all up with stuff. No, I think I'm going to put it right about there. I've been saving this button for a long time for just the right thing, and I thought, well, this is it. And another thing, I think I've mentioned this in my assemblage videos before too, you don't want to get stuff up too high in here, because that's the neckline, and some people don't want to wear stuff, you know, halfway down their chest. Especially this style is meant to be worn closer to the face, so if you get it too high, it could jag people in the neck or look quite unattractive. So don't get a lot of stuff flying up off of here. Stay lower. Okay, so now we've got that there. Now we've got to set another piece. We're just laying down our foundation pieces to set the tone. I think I'll put this here. Or, what if I did that? And then did one over here, kind of move this over. Do this kind of random. We'll see how that's going to hang up in there. I'm going to get off this chair. I'm on my knees on this chair. Let me get off of here and get a better look. I can look at it the way you guys are looking at it and see if I like this. Usually I stand up to do this anyway. Yeah. Now, I could mount those in something, but I like them just the way they are. So, I'll put a little chip and dip there. Chip and dip. Okay, set it kind of sideways. And then I want to kind of get it the same angle on the other side to give it balance. And when this sets up, you know, I'll flip it over and see if I have any cleanup to do. So I've got my beginnings. All my colors are kind of flowing. Okay, so now I've got this pretty flower from last week. And if I do that though, I'm going to have to, so I don't want to cover up all my great elements. Don't I want to do that? Don't know. Maybe another button for a shim. Yeah. Now I'll take and I'll rest that there, but I will have on the other side a little bit of space underneath, and I may have to take care of it. I could do that with a piece of rhinestone chain or something. So this is my beach flower. I need a little more than that. My Patina beach flower. Now if I put that there though, I'm going to cover up my pretty element, so maybe, maybe I'll put that right there. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. You know what? I just realized something. I have a little background. That guy actually needs a little shim on. I use buttons for shims all the time to make him sit up right. So I'm going to get some under that, and I'm going to go under and reapply my starfish like that. See how much of a glurpy mess I got going on. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. See, this is a little bit more, you know, hollow to the back, so we've got to compensate. All right, that's good. Now, toothpick. Always have your toothpicks ready. Now, I have a little tiny seashell that could go right there. Oh, that's cool, huh? I like it. And there's just enough room to get them in there if we get enough glue, because we don't want them coming off. Okay, so we got that going on. Now, we need to fill that in there too. Okay, so here I go. Put them in these. This one's got kind of got some natural color, natural patina from the I can't say it. Seashore. Okay, on it there. Okay, I'm liking that. And maybe, let's see, let's play for a minute. I'll put my cap on. I kind of like that, but then I'm going to have a hole there, which will mean another shim. So, let me find the correct button. But you see where I'm going with this? I mean, we've done a lot of assemblage together before, guys, but there's always something else that could be said. And I don't want to get that in there in a way, let me show you. See, I want this to move free. So if I put a shim in there, I'd be careful I don't get a bunch of glurpy glue over there onto my jump ring, because then it's not going to move free. So now I can put this here, and then later when I'm doing my finish work, I'll tuck little pearls up underneath there. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Oops, I got the wrong glue. I want the other one. I'm not going to be able to finish this, guys, because this video is going to go so long, and, you know, Javi and Rob don't want to be here all day. It takes a while to, you know, process videos. But I just wanted to kind of bring you into my little assemblage world and my little Swelligent world today. I've got a little extra running over there. That's okay, because something else is going to go there. Maybe some micro beads. But you can see the start of this. Now, if you want to see the end of it, oh, he came off. I will have pictures on the newsletter. Join us at the Bisou Boutiques Creative Group. You'll see some amazing stuff on there. And you know what? None of it is so hard as it is just different. Maybe something you never tried before or thought of. And I'll have this all finished up in a day or two. And I'll be sharing it with you, and you will see it again. And maybe next week what we'll do to continue this is I'll take some of these cabs and we'll put resin on them together and kind of play to see what all happens. So hope you have a great week. Try some of these techniques. Go ahead, get yourself some Swelligented materials made up so you'll be ready to put resin on them with me next week while we play along together. And you have a great week, and thank you so much for tuning in. And come and see us at bisouboutiques.com, where we have the good stuff. We just got German filigree in. We got some more vintage French. We got chain, this wink. We got a ton of Swelligent. Anything you need in Swelligent, we've got it now. We've just got so many cool things that have just come in, I just can't even tell you. So you just have to come over and see it. And now, shut up. Have a great week. bisouboutiques.com. Bye.